Time's DNA test proved he was the father on paternity court.
How long have you been keeping a calendar like this?
Since I've been about 25, 26 years old. Different women that I've slept with. Somebody come in and tell you 16 years later you got a child. I got a calendar to say that I didn't have it.
You are the father.
Thank you. I told you.
Family meddling too much can raise all sorts of disputes, including paternity ones.
Mr. Muriel, you and your sister have petitioned the court to order a DNA test to prove that you are not the father of the defendant's 18-month-old son and are hoping the court grants you the test so you can prove your case. Is this correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Redmond, you say you are tired of being a single mom. You didn't make this baby by yourself and state there is no reason for a paternity test. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Muriel told the court why he was refusing to accept the child.
I'm looking to expand my brand with this lady here putting a child on me. It's like stopping me from leaving and going to do what I want to do. So I'm like really stuck and I need the answers because it's not my child.
But he himself had already signed the birth certificate.
You signed the birth certificate.
Yes.
When you were at the hospital, did you believe the child was yours at the time?
No.
You did not?
No. Because I felt very pressured. Like everybody's sitting there looking at me as far as like her
But
family.
his mom was there.
Was your mother present at the birth, Mr. Muriel?
No.
Yes, she was.
So the judge clarified to the young man that birth certificates were not taken that lightly.
You chose it.
You put his name, your name, as his middle name.
Mr. Muriel, hold on now. And the child also has your last name.
Yeah.
So you now know that once you sign it under the law, you are that child's father. Even if you're not his biological father, you're still the legal father.
Okay.
As both sides were not clear enough to order a DNA test, the judge moved to the conception part.
Zadrion's date of birth is what?
September 15th, September 16th.
Let's get down to the bottom of this. Zadrian was born September 16, 2015. If you hit calculate, the window of conception would be December 18th through December 23rd of 2014.
After this, the alleged baby daddy told the court what events had induced doubts in him.
I see her vehicle in a neighborhood she's never in. I don't know whose house this is, and I'm trying to figure it out. And she wasn't answering the phone or text messages. So I pull up behind her once she comes out and get to the car. And I'm like, who house is this? Who house was you just at? She say some girl name. I said, all right, go get her. She's like, no. All right, I'll go get her myself. She gets in the car real fast, turn around, skirt off. So I knock on the door. A dude answers the door.
And Auntie also fueled the suspicion in this way.
1 minute she says he's the dad, 1 minute she says that he's not. That's you on Snapchat saying, look at Zadrian playing with his dad, with the same guy she got caught at the house.
Right.
Zadrian's playing with his daddy, daddy and the kids.
It's been a year and a half. I don't even talk to him no more. Why are you pulling up to any house that you see my vehicle at? What business do you have?
Were you on Snapchat with a video
No.
saying this
Oh,
was
she's
Zadrian?
lying.
Time out.
She's lying.
Which led to this revelation.
Is that the same guy when he went up to the house and
Yep.
opened the door?
Mm-hmm.
But this is the person you believe is
believes
Zadrian's
it.
father because you say there's a striking resemblance.
Oh, that man is light-skinned. That's probably your baby daddy. Oh, I could name a few of y'all that light-skinned. I guess they are my baby daddies in here.
The baby claimed that the guy at the podium had no issue being a father before his sister arrived.
You were there in the beginning. It wasn't until
You're
she stepped in his
wishy-washy.
ear that he started denying it. It was Christmas time that he started denying my son, and that's when she came up from Atlanta for Christmas.
So, now let's get to the result.
Just move on, and my son can have a dad and a mom, and
When it comes to 18-month-old Zadrian Muriel, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Muriel, you are the father.
Mr. Aramillo had put his wife in an awkward position and is now denying her both children.
Ms. Stremke, you've dragged Mr. Jaramillo to court in hopes of saving your family, which you claim is falling apart due to paternity denial. You say the defendant doubts paternity for both of your daughters, 4-year-old Naviana and 8-month-old Alexis, but you want to prove that he is their father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Stremke told the court how the denial was affecting her children.
We didn't have both parents, and even when we did have both parents different times, we were denied. They can't trust their dad because he denies that he's their dad. She can hear the, well, I'm not her dad anyway, and it just gives her doubt.
You're expressing your paternity doubts in front of the children?
In some instances, it gets brought up in fights, and when the children are present, we get pretty loud about it.
This is not good.
Next came the doubt-provoking part.
What was the issue surrounding her paternity?
I had just gotten out of a relationship with my son's father and had moved back to Iowa. Well, I ended up where I had slept with another man. Then I found out I was pregnant after we had first slept together, and he got a phone call from a girl that I had went to school with. And from that point on, he had doubted it. How can you base your daughter's paternity off of some girl you had never even met?
But as much as we don't like it, rumors can get to us.
The baby that Miss Stremke had been impregnated with wasn't mine, that she had been sleeping with numerous males.
How long
before
had you
me.
been together at that point?
We had been together for 2.5, 3 weeks.
That was a short amount of time, Miss Stremke. I mean, he gets this call and somebody says, this is not your baby, this is the person she was with before you.
Yes.
It's his baby. That would give any reasonable person some doubt.
The judge asked the couple why did they wait for 4 years and another to clear the doubt.
Did you ever attempt to have a paternity test back then?
No, Your Honor, because every time I brought it up, it was always, oh, I know she's mine.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
Yes.
Alejandro Jaramillo, that's you.
Yes, Your
You
Honor.
signed it. Acknowledged paternity. You said, this is my daughter.
Yes, I did. It was a moment of emotion. It was a moment of ecstatic joy.
Ms. Stremke told the court how she was practically begged into having another child.
I was done having kids after I had a boy and I had a girl. The whole paternity of Naviana was not brought up, and he was begging me for another child because he wanted to try to have a boy. I kept saying no. We ended up having a female-female threesome. He ended up bringing his friend over.
You brought your friend over
his
Yes, Your
male
Honor.
friend
to have a threesome with your children's mother.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Aramillo told the court he regretted that decision to the present day.
I blame myself for a lot.
You regret having that threesome,
I do. I regret having that threesome. I regret everything that has ever happened bad in our relationship.
How to move forward in a relationship when you feel like you've hit a dead spot or you feel stagnant. Learn something new together, but don't invite someone else in your relationship.
The other guy also wanted into the baby girl's life.
Actually
That-
looks
that
like
he
my
feels
buddy
bad.
that we had the threesome with. I don't have that light of hair.
You may be Hispanic, but her mom is white.
When I first told him that there was a chance that he might be the father, he said he wants to be involved. He doesn't want to be apart from her.
And she's gonna lose her dad because of a threesome?
I mean, you say, oh, we just did this to spice up our relationship. Now, it's too hot.
Oh man, more getting into makes me feel sorry for these children. Let's just get to the results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Jaramillo, you are the father. When it comes to 8-month-old Alexis Jaramillo, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Jaramillo, you are the father.
Oh my God, this is so good. This is so good.
Miss Coward is in court because of a detail-oriented womanizer is denying her baby.
Miss Coward, you're here today to determine the paternity of your 9-month-old son in an effort to save your relationship with his alleged father, Mr. James.
Yes, Judge.
Mr. James, you say Miss Coward has cheated on you in the past, and you argue you not only have good reason to doubt paternity, but say you can no longer trust her.
Yes, Your Honor.
And she was bummed over the fact that her baby was not an accident.
When I found out I was pregnant, he originally bought a home pregnancy test because we actually planned to have a child.
I was the one that actually told her that she was pregnant, Your Honor. I have evidence that I keep on the calendar basically about her cycle. When I can and when I cannot, be intimate with her.
Oh, and you have that on a calendar.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Yup, the guy had a whole calendar lined up about every woman he had been with.
How long have you been keeping a calendar like this?
Since I've been about 25, 26 years old.
So for 16 years, you've been keeping track of
Different women that I've slept with. Somebody come in to tell you 16 years later you got a child. I got a calendar to say that I didn't have it.
Who can keep track of such things? Odd, right?
So you have in your calendar the dates you were intimate with women and also a record of their monthly cycles?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Wow.
I was a womanizer. If this woman was on her cycle, I can go to this woman.
Ms. Coward, did you know he was keeping this calendar?
I did, yes ma'am.
So what did the calendar have to say about the pregnancy?
Once you found out she was pregnant, is this what made you doubtful as you went back through your notes?
We went to the actual doctor. They gave her one due date. They gave her another one on another day. So there was 2 different due dates. Neither one of them coincide with the days was intimate with her, nor with that. None of it coincide with the last time that I slept with her before our last menstrual.
But Mr. James had been there for the pregnancy.
I was gonna take a DNA before I put my name on the birth certificate. The way that the relationship started, she was in a relationship. After a week of us being intimate, sneaking around, I gave her the option. You either get rid of him or stay away from my house. She chose me. I'm a single black man that had his own apartment, had his own business, and that's what intrigued her, and so she left him alone.
Yeah, now there is that paternity mix-up part.
She admitted to me that she had slept with him twice.
And I don't feel like there was anything wrong with that because when I met him, I was in a relationship with that man.
Well,
I only slept with him twice, but I also want him to understand you met me as someone else's woman.
So did any of this sex happen during the window of conception?
No.
Well, that's what she says. I don't know because she was nowhere to be found for 2 or 3 days.
With that revelation, let's move to the result.
When it comes to Taj James, Mr. James, you are the father.
Thank you. I told you. I told you, babe.
Now see the tears in your eyes, Mr. James. It feels good to know, right?
Yes, it does, Your Honor.
A notorious heartbreaker has avoided a DNA test for 3 years, but this time, there's no going back.
You state that Miss Villa is a notorious cheater who tried to pin her daughter Trinity on you.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim there is no way you are the father. Miss Villa, you admit to making mistakes in your relationship, but you and your best friend want to prove he fathered your daughter Trinity.
Judge started by listening to the plaintiff's testimony.
Her nickname is Heartbreaker.
What does that
From the beginning of the
Trinity?
relationship that we had together, she was a liar, a cheater, and no good for nothing, just to be honest.
But you still stayed with me.
That's what I was just about to say.
Actually, Your
Yes,
Honor,
you did. You
she
continued
stayed
to have
with
sex
me.
with me and everything else, and you allowed me back.
And he had his reason for letting women come back after each infidelity.
We both have a history. Before I became a loyal man, I was just like her, jumping from person to person to person. Over time, I noticed that it was time for me to settle down. She was the person that I wanted to settle down with.
All right, so you decided this is the woman you wanted to settle down with. She was behaving the way you used to behave in relationships.
Not in relationships.
You gonna save her.
I tried to.
All right.
Well, this is how the whole supposed rescue mission started.
He hit me up on Facebook, and it went from a one night stand to us having a kid.
Wow, that is a huge jump, Jerome. And it turned into a relationship from just meeting on Facebook.
Yes, Your Honor.
What is this, love at first sight for you all?
The problem was I couldn't get rid of her, Your Honor.
Ms. Villa told the court that they were both on the same cycle.
If you wanted me gone, you would have spoke up and told me to get out.
And I did.
No, you didn't.
And that's not what you just testified
not
to.
what you were
You
telling
said
me.
you met a girl that you liked and you really wanted to try to build a relationship with her. So how did you find out she was cheating on you?
When we had went to Athens,
I told him each time he would let me leave, and I would come back and I let him know that I did it. And he still took me back.
But things were more complicated than this.
she
Yes, it
cheated
was.
8 different times with 8 different people.
In the beginning, no.
Hold on.
No,
Yes,
that's
Your
not how
Honor.
it went. There was times I did cheat on him, and there was times we were broken up and I'm
You're
messed around.
sitting
Just
here
like he
admitting
kicked
that
me
you're
out
cheating now.
to
So
sleep with another
with that
girl in a
being
place we
said,
shared together. So you need to get your story straight and tell your
My whole-
part.
Now, let's get to why the baby was suffering in this dynamic.
The times of conception was she slept with a man on the 31st of January.
Tony,
He and
she
her
was-
slept together February the 14th. 3 days later, the 17th, she tells me that she's pregnant. I'm like, how are you pregnant?
So
Pregnant.
you
You're a
have
liar.
sex 3 days later and she tells you, now I'm pregnant.
Yes.
So you thinking like, how do you know you pregnant 3 days after we just have sex?
Exactly, Your Honor.
However, Mr. Carr was playing an important role in the Trinity's life.
I'm with her every day of the week, just about. I play my role as a father. No matter what it is, no matter how much pain or how much that eats me up inside, I still treat her like she's my own child.
I can see how emotional that makes you. Why are you feeling so emotional?
I didn't deserve to go through what I went through.
But you kept taking me back.
After that news, we got to see how toxic they were acting towards each other.
bragging about being a cheater. Who in the world would take you back if you're sitting there bragging about being a cheater? Okay, I kept on taking you back, and at least somebody loved you enough to take you back or even give you a chance. It eats me up. It really does. No matter how much somebody brags, oh, you kept on taking me back. Like I said, because somebody loved you.
Nobody's bragging about that.
Next, the judge gave the baby mama a chance to tell her side of the story.
He wants me to understand his pain, but don't understand mine. Raising kids by myself. So you left 5 days before I had Trinity, and then told me you slept with 3 other girls I knew you slept with.
Slept with.
It wasn't just 3. Okay, and I did a lot of this when we're broken up, but I'm a cheater.
You don't get to this point with one person being a saint and the other one being the sinner. You just painting that picture of her because I know there has to be a yin to this yang.
The judge even gave Miss Villa the chance to testify, but it led to this mess.
Tony, you've been coming around lately.
I learned from my grandmother.
Not for the past 3 years.
I learned from a family member.
You have been coming around lately because...
Why? Because she keeps moving and people get tired of reaching out. Here.
No, Tony, she has reached out to you plenty of times.
Now let's get a little Trinity the result she deserves.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Carr, you are the father.
This nice friend with benefits is refusing to father someone else's child.
To be a nice guy who was forced to make the tough decision to drag the defendant to court to prove you did not father her 3-month-old son, Christian. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You and your mother are insulted that Mr. Kennedy denies paternity. You say he laid down with you and now he has to step up and pay. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Kennedy told the court how the duo started off.
It started off as just friends. We met through a mutual friend. It got physical, got to know each other, and it...
So did you all enter into a committed relationship? Were you boyfriend and girlfriend?
Brief. I would say briefly.
No, we never did. It never had a chance to take off. We did get along in the beginning, but he was a jerk, and I no longer wanted to be around that.
This is where everything went downhill.
When he started to say that I had feelings over my ex, and that wasn't the case. If I was not over my ex, I wouldn't be trying to involve myself with anybody else.
Mr. Kennedy didn't agree with this statement.
You saying that's not true?
We were friends from the beginning, but then it became, I guess, friends with benefits. Kind of the reason why my feelings had changed was because she didn't have a GED, she didn't have a future plan. I was working and raising my first son. My friend told me, she doesn't have anything going for her at the moment, so you need to drop it like a bad habit.
Listening to this, the judge moved on to the pregnancy.
I found out that I was pregnant at 6 weeks, and after that point, he really didn't have much to say over the fact that I was.
Do you remember when she told you she was pregnant?
She told me around May or June or July. At that point, she had said there were 2 other gentlemen involved. Could it potentially be mine? And she said, no, you're in the clear. So at that point, I
never said he was in the clear.
According to Mr. Kennedy, it was unlikely that he could be the father.
If you count from May 6th to January 26th or 28th, that's 40 plus weeks.
The bottom line is you did the math and subtracted yourself out the equation.
I didn't hear from her until after the child was born saying, you're the father.
I'm not about to beg for support.
Wait a minute, how did she tell you were the father?
Through Facebook, I got messages.
And messages showed this.
I've been trying to get a hold of you. I wanted to call you and talk about. She replies, would you like to guess? And then you replied, no. And then Ms. Pope says, okay, well, I'm not sure how to say this, so I'll just show you. And you sent a picture of the baby.
Yes, it looks just like him.
Quite a way to tell someone about their child.
Are you sure it's mine? Because the last information I was given, there were 2 other gentlemen involved. I'm gonna be the father I never had. So
if that's your promise, where is it at then?
You didn't tell me until after the child was born. How am I supposed to know? You told me there were 2 other men involved.
Were there 2 other men involved, Ms. Pope?
Yes.
After this, the judge said what we had been thinking about.
Ms. Pope, you do have to own the fact that once you tell a man or he becomes aware that there are 2 other possibilities, you do have a responsibility to get clarity on that. Do you agree with that? And that's why you're here.
So let's jump to get that clarity.
When it comes to 3-month-old Christian Pope, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Kennedy, you are the father.